Hi everyone, this is Jason from the Millie Paramilitary 2 Para 3 Club, and I wanted to give you some thoughts and impressions of a knife that I'm sure many of you are familiar with, but it's new to me, and while it was top of mind, I wanted to get it down so that you could hear my thoughts on it, and perhaps this might help you with a buying decision down the road. And that knife is the 940-1 from Benchmade, featuring S90V steel, carbon fiber scales. This is the Osborne design. This knife was on loan to me from Cutlery Shop, from Jeff Loffer, who is a friend of mine, and I appreciate him letting me borrow this knife because this is honestly something that I've been considering and thinking about for many times, but I haven't pulled the trigger on it because I just haven't ever held one before. And now that I have some thoughts for you. To start with, this is a very well-made knife. Benchmade makes excellent knives. I appreciate the fact that the scales have a nice 3D texture to them, in that they're scalloped here and here. I do like the axis lock an awful lot because I'm left-handed, and this ambidextrous lock is appreciated to me, and it's something that works just as well left-handed as it does right-handed. Their clips are excellent, no complaints on the clip. It's surprisingly similar to a Spyderco clip, so it makes me very happy. Another thing I like about this knife is it is wonderful to carry. It really disappears into your pocket, and that is largely due to the height of the knife. So from the back to the top, this knife is very, very small. And of course, the main reason it's smaller is because with a Spyderco, you have to hide the hole somewhere, so that's going to make the knife quite a bit taller. So in terms of feel in the pocket, the Benchmade absolutely crushes the Spyderco. When it's time to use the knife, I find that the blade is excellent. This is a very, very well-made blade. The tip is durable and strong. The cutting edge is long and straight. It has a nice sharpening choil back here, so it should be very, very easy to maintain this blade. Additionally, the way that the axis lock works, you can be very sure that this knife is going to be safe in your hands. So overall, this was a wonderful knife to use today. I had a lot of fun chopping up a bunch of cardboard boxes that I had in my garage. I made sure to do it the long way, and I took extra cuts here and there to try to get everything. And I just found that this knife really worked well for cutting all that cardboard. So let's talk about the criticisms a little bit. Now, these criticisms are largely based on my personal experience, and they're based on the size of my hands. They are not based on anything that Benchmade is doing incorrect. The first thing that I've noticed about this knife is that when I go to open it, my thumb has a really hard time getting to the thumb stud because it's awfully close to the scale. If this were scalloped a little bit, that would really allow you to get a much better grab on the thumb stud before you open the knife. Another thing that was a problem is that because I have long hands and long fingers, when I grab the knife or hold the knife or try to retain control of the knife as I open it, my fingers end up touching the back of the blade. And now, not only am I trying to open this knife with a thumb stud that's hard to reach, but my fingers are actually doing damage to the whole action because they're actually putting friction on the blade. So to open this knife, I have to basically hold it with my fingers and not let it touch my palm, and I have to somehow flip it open. It's a little bit weird. So there were times when I was using this knife that I was concerned that I was going to drop it. When you're borrowing a knife from a friend, you don't really want to be in that position where you're worried that you're going to drop the knife. That brings me to another consideration. With this knife, it has a very slim, smooth, long handle and a very slim, long, smooth profile overall. And I think this knife would benefit from a belly. If it had a little bit of a belly here, when I hold the knife, I'm going to get better grip with my middle finger and my ring finger, and I'm going to feel like I'm a little more confident as I'm holding it. There were times that I was cutting through cardboard at this type of movement or this movement, and I was finding that I was very worried that the knife was going to slide out of my hand because I just didn't have a lot to grip. Another criticism of mine, this finger and this finger don't have much to do because this is so very thin at the back of the knife. There's not a lot to hold on to. So if this knife had a bit of a belly and if it had an upturn at the back of the handle, it would be better for me. It would be better in my hands. But it would probably cease being a Benchmade at that point. I imagine that this slim profile is very popular for Benchmade fans, that they really like the feel of the smooth, straight handle, and that's perfectly fine. In my opinion, this knife would benefit from that. So, the pros are excellent. This is excellent steel, excellent lineage, excellent manufacturer. The lock is terrific. The clip is terrific. Benchmade's customer service is excellent. I don't think you have anything to worry about if you're thinking about buying this knife. You're going to enjoy it very much. The downside is, for me personally in my hand, the shape of the Paramilitary 2 is just better for my grip. It's better for me to hold on to. I have a little bit of a horn here and a horn here, so that when I'm holding it like this, my fingers don't feel like they're going to slide down or up the blade. I just have a really nice grip, and my middle finger can do the bulk of the holding of the knife by really gripping on the belly. Another thing that I like a lot about the Spyderco is that the scales are taller this direction, so that my knuckle is touching here, and then my palm is touching here, and about this section of my digit on my finger is taken up by the scale. So this really does fit in my hand better, and if I'm going to be doing hard, heavy tasks of cutting, I really want that extra grip when I'm holding the knife. So, personal preference, I find that the Paramilitary 2 is a better way to go. Now, probably a better apples-to-apples comparison between the Benchmade and the Spyderco is going to be this knife with a 3D carved scale set from Aramis Akhmedov in Russia. This knife and this knife now feel similar, but this has all the things that we just talked about. I have a really nice finger grip here. I've got a little bit of a swell here for my middle finger to touch, and then back here I have a bit of a horn. See, it doesn't need a lot, just a little bit gives me the peace of mind that my fingers are not going to slip off the back of the knife. Whereas with the 940, I am occasionally worried that the knife is going to fall out of my hands as I'm cutting. So, if you have large hands, I think you might find what I find on the 940, and you might go right back to the Paramilitary 2 and prefer the size of the knife and the size of the handle. If you have smaller hands, or if perhaps you don't find that those swells are important in the middle of the scale, then I think you're going to love this knife. Really a terrific knife, very well made, and very well made cutting tool that's going to keep you happy for years to come. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope you got some information out of it. Please join us in our Facebook group or on Instagram. You're going to find us under MPM2P3 or Millie Paramilitary 2 Para 3 Club. We'd love to have you, and thanks for watching.